cash a meal. And do it through the pain, I don't need a pill. And life gon' get me down, but it won't break my will. Cause I've been chasing this so long, I can't give up. I won't give in, been through too much. I done prayed for the money, I done prayed for the fame. I done prayed that I will make a sacrifice and play this game. I done prayed that my life would never be the same. I done prayed that I will make it bring glory to my name.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, this podcast is brought to you by Final Form Supplements. Final Form Supplements is a supplement brand with honesty labeling. So the labeling in supplements is Wild Wild West. Sometimes labels aren't honest. They have things in there that's on in there. We don't have to worry about that with Final Form Supplements. We got everything you need from protein powder, creatine, skin care, soap for your skin, handcrafted soap, and we have all kinds of things. Go to finalformsubs.com, that's S-U-P-P-S, finalformsubs.com, use promo code COACHSTRIB, all caps, no space, get 10% off your order, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe on whichever video you're watching here at Ivy Talks Podcast Network, and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The NFL Coverage. We are wrapping up or recapping Week 6 in the NFL, and then some things we're looking forward to Week 7. So first off, we had Thursday night. We had the Seattle Seahawks versus the 49ers. 49ers win 36-24. Then for Sunday, a part of the NFL International Series in London, we had the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears win 35-16 against the Jags. We had Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Saints. Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back, I forget his name. Running back played phenomenal, had over 100 yards. I think, you know what? Let me do my due diligence and give you his name. Tucker, 136 yards rushing and a touchdown. Baker Mayfield, 325, 4. He did throw 3 interceptions, but he had 4 passing touchdowns. They pretty much manhandled the Saints 51-27. Green Bay Packers beat the Arizona Cardinals 34-13. Jordan Love, I believe he had 3 or 4 touchdowns himself. He had 4 passing touchdowns with 258 yards. He did throw an interception. Tennessee Titans lose to the Colts 20-17. No surprise there. Philadelphia Eagles beat the Browns 20-16. Houston beats the Patriots 41-21 in a phenomenal game, pretty good game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Washington Commanders. It was pretty close there until towards the end of the game. Derrick Henry has 24 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, 323 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. And Zay Flowers had 9 catches, 132 yards. So pretty much got it done in passing and running the game there for the Baltimore Ravens. Chargers beat the Broncos 23-16. Steelers beat the Raiders 32-13. Atlanta Falcons beat the Panthers 38-20. Lions absolutely manhandled the Dallas Cowboys 47-9. Detroit was getting everything they wanted in the air. Their run game was impeccable. Dallas just could not handle the run game. They were leading the way with Montgomery. Montgomery had 80 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. Gibbs had 63, Reynolds had 21, and Jared Goff 315 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Again, just getting it done in the air and on the ground. Bengals beat the Giants 17-7. Joe Burrow has a touchdown there late towards the end of the game for the win, a rushing touchdown. He had 208 yards, no pass touchdowns, but again, he had a rushing touchdown, as well as Brown with a rushing touchdown. And Jets-Bills, exciting game Monday night. I thought the Jets were going to get it done there, but the Bills squeak away there with a field goal to win it, and Aaron Rodgers throwing a pick late in the game. I thought they were getting ready to drive down, at least send it to overtime, but he throws a pick there late, last play of the game for them, for Bills to recover the ball, knee it, and then game is over. And then bye week, we had Kansas City, Rams, Miami, and Minnesota. So let's go over the standings. I think at this point, I'm just going to go over the top team in each division instead of going through all of them. So in the AFC East, Bills are at the top of AFC East. AFC North, Ravens are at the top. Their record-wise, they're tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they're at the top of the AFC North. AFC South, Houston Texans. AFC West, Chiefs. And Chiefs are still undefeated at 5-0. And in the NFC, we have the Washington Commanders at top of the NFC East. NFC North, we have the Minnesota Vikings, again, and another team undefeated, Minnesota Vikings. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are tied at 4-2, but I believe the Atlanta Falcons are ahead at number 1. And NFC West, 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks are both 3-3. Statistical leaders, Geno Smith is leading the league in passing yards at 1,778. Brock Purdy's there at 2. Passing touchdowns, Baker Mayfield with 15. Receiving yards, still Nico Collins, even though he is hurt. Nico Collins is still leading with 567 yards. Jamar Chase is right behind him by 2 yards, 565. 2 yards, 565. Receiving touchdowns, tied first is going to be George Kittle. Jamar Chase, Alan Lazard, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin all have 5, tied for first in receiving touchdowns. Rushing yards, the king is back on top. Derrick Henry at 704. Rushing touchdowns is Derrick Henry has separated himself. He is at 8 on rushing touchdowns. Interception is still Xavier McKinney for the Green Bay Packers. Defensive tackles, it's going to be 62 for the Raiders, Robert Spillane. And sacks, even though, first of all, Aiden Hutchinson had a gruesome leg injury in this game this past week. He's still leading the league in sacks at 7.5. But Dexter Lawrence is right behind him at 7. And Aiden Hutchinson is going to be out for the rest of the season with a tibia-fibia fracture. It was very gruesome. So our thoughts are going to go out to him, his family, and the Detroit organization. As well, breaking news that happened, I believe, yesterday. Breaking news between yesterday and today, Amari Cooper is being traded to the Bills, as well as Davante Adams is being traded to the Jets. So the Jets are picking up Davante Adams with, and we all know Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams had a phenomenal career together at Green Bay Packers. Now they're going to re-up here with the Jets, and I'm actually interested to see how this goes down with Davante Adams. You have Wilson, you have Alan Lazard, and you also have the number 2 defense in the NFL. So if maybe we can see them get some more chemistry, add a little bit of that veteran wisdom onto that young team and see where things go for the Jets. That's going to be statistical leaders. And week 7, here's what we have lined up. Thursday night, so tomorrow, Broncos Saints for Thursday night. Then with the next game in the International London Series, we have the Patriots versus the Jaguars, Tennessee Titans at Buffalo Bills, Miami's at Colts, Detroit at Vikings, Bengals at Browns, Texans at Packers, Seahawks at Atlanta, the Eagles at Jets, or Eagles at Giants, Panthers at Commanders, Raiders at Rams, Chiefs at 49ers, Jets at Steelers, and then Monday night we have a doubleheader with the Ravens at Tampa Bay and the Chargers at Cardinals. There's actually a handful of games here that I'm actually going to be interested to see how these plays out. The first one's going to be Detroit and the Vikings. Vikings are undefeated, but I think Detroit matchup-wise, I don't know how it's going to be with them having to fill the hole with Aiden Hutchinson, but Detroit to me is one of those teams that could beat anybody. You can line them up against any team. To me, again, so far, no team is really a cut above the rest. So I think Detroit is one of those teams that's well-rounded, well-coached. I think they could beat any team. I don't think any team is unbeatable. Even though we have 2 undefeated teams, I don't see any team as that team that just seems unbeatable. Kansas City, even though they've won and they've undefeated, some of their games have been close, they've been ugly. They're just finding ways to win because obviously Patrick Mahomes is an absolute monster, he's an absolute beast. He's one of the greatest of all time to do it. So you have that, but as a team, they don't look like that team like, oh my God, they're just unbeatable. They definitely look beatable. They're just finding ways to win at the end of the game. And Detroit, I think, could be one of those teams to kind of knock the Vikings off their undefeated streak. So I'm interested to see that just because Detroit's a phenomenal, well-rounded team. The next matchup I'm interested in seeing is the Chiefs 49ers. Again, 49ers is one of those teams where I can see them coming in and kind of kicking Kansas City off their high horse and giving them their first L just because the roster that the 49ers have, they're just a well-rounded team. 49ers, they are 3-3. So they're not doing as well as they have in the past, but with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, you got on defense, you got, oh my God, I forget his name. I hate myself for this. Fred Warner, sorry, I'm thinking the linebacker for the 49ers, did an absolute monster, absolute beast. So 49ers just with that defense and with the type of protect the ball type of offense they have, I could see the 49ers knocking the Chiefs off right here this upcoming week. And 49ers are 1.5 point favorite. For the Vikings, they are 2.5 point favorite, but again, the spread's not big, so they're expecting it to be a close game, which I am expecting to be a close game as well. The next game I'm looking at, there's two more I'm interested in watching. It's going to be the Jets and Steelers. Jets are 1.5 point favorite, but I'm interested in this because Steelers are quietly 4-2. They're playing pretty well. They're winning games. I will not necessarily say they're playing very well. Their defense is holding it down. Offense is struggling a little bit with the chemistry, but they're doing enough offensively to get these wins because they're low-scoring games, and they're finding ways to win. They're 4-2. They're kind of quiet. Nobody's really talking about them because of the quarterback situation and Justin Fields. Russell Wilson is taking reps with the ones, and they're expecting Russell Wilson to start this week, regardless of the fact that they're 4-2 and they're playing, or record-wise, they're doing good. They're 4-2 record-wise. But Justin Fields is potentially going to be benched, and Russell Wilson's coming in. So it's like, even though their record says 4-2, there's a lot of kind of, you can tell, not necessarily turmoil, but chemistry issues and getting locked in offensively that they're trying to address now. So that's why I'm interested in seeing how the Jets handle. The Jets got number two defense in the league, and you got Aaron Rodgers. Will Devontae Adams play this game? I don't know. He'll only have literally a couple days to get accustomed to the offense, so they might just have a few plays for him. So I don't know how involved Devontae Adams will be, but obviously when you got a guy like that, you can just line him up and just give him individual routes and just go crazy. So, and again, I always say when you have a top-tier defense, any game you have a chance to win. And I think this could be one of those games the Jets can get, and this is going to start their momentum drive for the season where they start to figure it out, start clicking, and start getting in some wins. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. And I'm just curious to see how Russell Wilson does, if he is a starter, how he does against the number 2 defense. Because he's been sitting, he's about to get his first start. Your first start is to get the number 2 defense in the league. What do you do? Do you show up or do you wet the bed? So I'm interested to see how that plays out. And then lastly, I'm interested in the Baltimore Ravens, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 3.5 point favorite for Baltimore. So they're expecting a 1 possession game, about a field goal-ish or 2 field goals. That's what they're expecting. And Baker Mayfield is playing great ball this year. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they're playing great ball. So I'm curious to see how this matchup, I'm actually kind of expecting it's probably going to be a blowout. Or not a blowout, but a high-scoring game between both teams. So I'm curious to see, can the Ravens keep that pass-run game going? Because you had Zay Flowers over 100 yards receiving, Derrick Henry over 100 yards rushing, and then Lamar Jackson's getting his passing yards and his rushing yards. Can they keep that firing on all cylinders in all 3 aspects, receiving, running, and quarterback play? I'm interested to see that, as well as same for the Buccaneers. Can Baker Mayfield continue to get the ball down the field, continue to get it in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, continue to get it in their hands and make plays against the offense where they're going to pretty much have to go bucket for bucket, score for score, essentially. So those are the games I'm interested. Bye weeks, we have Chicago and Dallas. Yes, Dallas needs this bye. They need to regroup. They need to get it together because just peeking into week 8, just for a second, Cowboys play 49ers. So they get a bye to try to figure it out, and then they come out and they got to play the 49ers, which is a team you have to show up for the 49ers. So if you're Dallas, the mindset is get our shit together this bye week, rest, recover, dial it in, watch our film, come out. This game against the 49ers for Dallas is a must win. If they don't win this, I think there's a potential of people potentially being fired, the morale of the team start a slippery slope and downhill. That's what you don't want. So for Dallas, this bye week is crucial, and I think this 49ers game that they have week 8, that is a must win for Dallas. So we will see But before that, we got week 7 coming up. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Go ahead and subscribe so you can stay tuned here at the IV Talks Podcast Network. And we'll catch you guys next week.
My destiny, I'm gonna chase my dreams, my